that's something I do like that they did in the live action, that they really leaned into the Earth Kingdom being inspired by India, and that it has a really big Indian inspiration.
Yeah, you definitely do see that in
the
like marketplaces and the like the city, whenever you.
Yeah,
I will say,
and especially like in the castle with King Boomy and his headdress and all the food and all the decor. The banquet. Yeah,
it really looks like it, and that's
you
also
have like
when
somebody has like a sari on, I think.
And that episode's the one where we get the like blanket fight with Zuko and Aang, right? Is that it's the same episode where they're like that's what it is, right? Are that the tapestries or the blankets?
I think where he like wraps him up in the tapestry.
And they do like the random slow-mo for parts of it, which I was like, okay, I mean, I guess we could do slow-mo here, sure. Like,
sure,
I suppose. And that's also when you'll want to talk about this. We get the slight Zutara moment where like he like gets the
guys
scarf or whatever, and is like, I can't get behind it. I'm sorry, I can't do it. It's not.
Well, you're a loser, so.
The oppressed should not fall in love with her oppressor. I'm sorry. That's just not. It's not.
But he's not. He's a good guy.
But he kind of is though.
He's just lost.
He's the prince.
He's a good guy in a bad situation. Okay.
I mean, yeah, eventually, but
like, I can fix him.
It's not.
That's what it is. We've lost the plot.
We lost the plot. But it's fine. Like that does happen in that episode, though. I believe.
Yeah, he like
in the marketplace
grabs her scarf, right?
Yeah, I guess when
sniff it, or am I crazy?
No, he doesn't sniff it. He just like.
I swear to God, I thought he was like.
Nah, I don't think so. That'd be weird. Come on, Zuko, get it together, man.
Because I feel like I'd be like, I remember it was like there was something a little weird about it.
There's definitely, like he definitely like lingers and like looks, and I feel like it's weird that he doesn't notice that it's her. But is again, it's just a random use of slow-mo for a second.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. The weirdest thing about the live action episode is just that they chose to like combine so many different episode plots from future things.
It's very, and it just feels very, like, it feels forced. It all feels like they tried to cramp it all together because they're like, well, we're here, and if we don't put this all in, everybody's going to get bored, and they're going to want to leave, and let's, like, did you notice this? Did you notice this? Wink, wink. I was like, okay, tough. But like, let's watch a show.
It's tough.
Can I have a show here?
I like the episode in a vacuum. I think it's an interesting, like, kind of political thriller almost type episode where they've got, you know, the like intrigue of like the terrorists that are messing stuff up and like trying to like destroy Hamashu essentially and like blame it on the Fire Nation and like all of that. And like you get Jet and all of them, which we'll get more into them later. But, and so like, I think that in a vacuum, the episode is solid. Like I enjoyed watching the episode just as its own thing. But then when you zoom out and think about it, you're like, well, they just took things from way down the line and like shoved it here. And
yeah, because they're like, kind of like, they feel like they have no time at all.
Yeah, which again, it's so weird that what they did and didn't want to put into the first season, considering it's technically longer than book one. Like it has a longer runtime than the first book does. But they decided to cut a bunch of stuff from book one and port in a bunch of stuff.
And then like spend 5 hours just like standing in a room talking at each other.
Yeah.
Like that works in Game of Thrones, but not here.
This is not like Game of Thrones though.
It's not, because you don't have Game of Thrones writing. You know why that doesn't work? Like,
yeah, no, that's a very real thing. And it's something too that a lot, I feel like, especially with that comparison, it gets lost a lot now where people think that what a lot of Game of Thrones was the end of Game of Thrones, like the last couple seasons, where it's like a ton of battles and a ton of action, and a ton of this stuff, which like, depending on who you ask, a lot of people say like is not what Game of Thrones should have been, because they also like ran out of book to adapt it. So they were like, well, we're just gonna do a bunch of stuff. And like, I'm in the minority. I like the last couple of seasons of Game of Thrones a lot, except for the ending. This is not a Game of Thrones podcast, but
Stuff Go Boom.
Yeah, I mean, Stuff Go Boom is pretty cool. But like the thing though, the point is that people forget the first like 5 seasons are what you just said, was just people talking for the most part. Like it was just conversation.
And that works. It's like, it's character building, it's conversations, and it's all subtext. It's all like they're saying this, but really they mean this. And you see that so much. And
and it's showing how the world works and like the character motivations and things like that, and that's stuff that the animated show does really well too. Like, of course you're going to have your action sequences and whatnot because it's a kids cartoon. You need to have those in there and like keep attention. And
like I describe this as it's fast food. Like they want to just get to the point so fast that you miss why it's good and why it's worth it. They just give it to you so quick that you're like, oh, well, it's not good then. I didn't work for it.
And
like,
it's still so, the combination of things is so weird in the live action episode. It's so odd.
It's like, so forced. I'm actually shocked there's no Haru.
Yeah.
There's no Haru at all, that's the other thing,
and which we'll get into in our next episode. Like, they just cut all of them
in prison,
which we'll get there. Yeah, but like that's something again,
which I think is very important.
Yeah, it's huge, but like it gets into the runtime thing of like you did have the content to work with and the character growth and stuff to work with, but instead they ported in a bunch of stuff that we didn't need here. And that if you think about it, you're like, well, there was probably a reason that they did this in the animated series and then saved, you know, these things for later on because they'll have relevance later on. And so it creates this weird cascade and domino effect of like, I don't know what they're gonna do when we get to where the things that they shoved here should have been later on, you know? Like I don't understand what's gonna happen. Like they're now gonna
I can't even predict anything. I'm like, I have no idea. Who's to say?
Because I also have to imagine that it'll, again, similar to this season, I have to imagine season 2 of the live action will be a slightly longer runtime than book 2 of the animated series. But again, there's a lot of things that they took out. And so the math is not mathing.
Why? It's just not.
I don't get it. But
it all felt like a little like, oh, it's the Cabbage Man. Yeah. Which also another anime inspiration for my anime fans out there. Cabbage Man is inspired by Cowboy Bebop, the 3 men that appear on like every planet. The writers wanted something like that. And I just think that's hilarious. Because that's one of my favorite parts of Cowboy Bebop.
No, that's incredible.
The only saving grace, the Cabbage Man.
we do love the cabbage, but that again goes into
and the way they bait it.
I think that's one of the things with the live action is that they're like, well, we know X, Y, and Z is a big thing in the fandom. Like we know the Cabbage Man is a huge thing. They give him a poster, right, to promote. Yeah. Like we know that's a huge meme, and so we're definitely gonna have that in the show. And which granted, it is in the animated series in this episode, but like we know that like the Secret Tunnel song is like a huge thing in the fandom, and so they're like, we don't want to wait to book 2 to get there. We're gonna put it in now, and it's like okay,
because we'll lose that.
Yeah, which is like, no, they just wanted it. Like, it's like you were just saying, like, they wanted it now. They wanted that instant, like, we've got it in there. Everyone can talk about it. Like, it's there.
Yeah, we satisfied that just in case we don't get renewed or we don't get a green light for the next 2 seasons.
Which they did, which
they did.
Yeah, they did.
So now what?
For 2 and 3, which makes sense. I mean, I didn't doubt that.
That means we have to watch it. Oh.
I know we have to. I do wonder. We talked about this a little bit in our group chat. I wonder if it means they'll film 2 and 3 back to back. Those kids will
grow fast.
They're gonna age. Like that's gonna be a real thing. And so I feel like they kind of like have to. Like they don't. I mean, they have the source material to work with for 2 and 3. So get going on those scripts, you know, and like start banging them out.
It's gonna be all AI scripts and
because I can't imagine they're gonna have like film 2 and then have another break and then film 3.
Yeah, they're not gonna have a break. They're gonna go right into it.
I mean, Sokka's already not a kid, right?
It's gonna look like Stranger Things, yeah.
Yeah,
those kids have like mustaches and acne and
like taking a year for them to film their final season, but that's a whole other thing.
This isn't a Stranger Things podcast either.
We're just dropping all of the other like shows and stuff in here.
All the other shows, yeah.
This live action episode was something. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's
so live action bad, animation good.
Yeah, pretty much is the thing. Boomy is
that's the summary.
I'll say acceptable in the live action one. There are things that I like about it. And
I disagree. Wrong. Hey, Aspect listener, enjoying the show?
Then be sure to subscribe here on The Aspect so you never miss an episode.
And check out more episodes and clips on our playlist here.
Thanks so much for watching, and
Lameo Hotman.